All right. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is The Enlightened One's Duality. This lesson is based off of a video that was sent to me, and I was watching it, and there was some good information in there, but there was also bad information in there. And I put the video, it's on BitChute. I'm not gonna play the video here because I don't know if they'll give it a strike because of it being on BitChute. I don't know if it's on YouTube or not. But there were a few things that were said there that were on point, and just want to say this as a disclaimer. You know, you brothers that's just learning about the truth, stick to the scriptures, learn the scriptures. Don't worry about all that other outside information. Just make sure that your foundation is sure in the scriptures, and then once you've matured to that level, then you could venture and look at other things because you have a sure foundation where you won't be dissuaded, so to speak. Now I called the Spirit gave me the title, The Enlightened One's Duality. Now there's a reason why I called it duality. Now when you look up the word duality or the word dual, it means consisting of two parts, elements, or aspects. Because to everything you see out here, you have a good and an evil. You know, there's always two sides to every coin. You know, you have cold, you have hot. You know, you have up, you have down. You know, east, west, so on and so forth. Darkness, light. Everything has a counter, you know, on the right hand side and on the left hand side. So let's start off with that. And the reason why I mention that is because when you read just bear with me 1 second. I'm trying to find this one precept first. All right, just bear with me 1 second. All right. It was actually one more verse up. All right. So what I'm speaking about is this video here. It's on BitChute. It's called The Dark Occult Season of Sacrifice. From around spring equinox to May Day, Mark Passio, 2020. And he goes into a lot of information on the occult and on how they do certain sacrifices and certain festivities and things of that nature on certain days of the satanic calendar, you know, for lack of better words. And Elder Apostle Gabar, he's done plenty of videos on the satanic calendar and the different days, you know, of their so-called high days or high satanic days. You know, remember, everything has a dual meaning. So I'm going to read this precept and possibly another one, and then I'm going to explain what the individual said and how he's wrong and how he said that. This is Ecclesiastes 33:14. Good is set against evil, and life against death. So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. So look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are two, and two, one against another. So everything has an opposite. You know, whatever you see out there dealing with good, you have the opposite dealing with evil. You have the sons of the Most High on the planet. You also have the sons of Satan on the planet. The sons of the Most High are the Israelites, even though you have demons among the nation of Israel also. And the sons of Satan are the Edomites on the left-hand side. Although you have Israelites that look like Edomites. And this is the great mystery of this knowledge. The other one is Ecclesiasticus 42:24. All things are double one against another, and he hath made nothing imperfect. So righteousness was made in perfection, and wickedness was made in perfection also. So in this video, this individual begins by introducing himself and the so-called calendar and the occult, and he also speaks about one of the names that is given to this organization known as the Illuminati. And he says he hates calling them the Illuminati because Illuminati means enlightened ones, and they're not enlightened. And that's not the case, because they are enlightened, but they're enlightened on the left-hand side. And that's the problem. I mean, he goes into breaking down the word Lucifer, which we've done many times, you know, and he's explaining how these individuals pretty much are being called enlightened ones just by breaking down the word Lucifer, but yet he still doesn't like to call them Illuminati because that means enlightened ones. He said they also call themselves by the name of Perfectibilis, which means the perfect ones. And they are perfect in wickedness. You got to remember, there's a dual aspect to everything. Every coin has two sides. And I want to say this again. As a disclaimer, those of you brothers that's just learning this truth, don't try to watch this video because you're gonna get lost. There's good information here, but this is only for the brothers that can really decipher, because their foundation is secure in the truth. And the reason why I'm doing this lesson, what you should get from the lesson, if anything, is not so much as the video itself, but the scriptures that are coming out in the video to help build up your spiritual arsenal. All right. So now let's deal with the word Illuminati, because he said the word Illuminati means enlightened ones. He doesn't like to call them enlightened ones. Well, the word himself, Illuminati, 1590s plural of Latin, illuminatus, enlightened, in figurative sense. And it's figurative, but really it's not, because it's actual. Because the term Illuminati does mean enlightened ones. And what makes them enlightened ones is that they had at one time the light and the knowledge of everything that was going on, as to where the majority of the world was in darkness. So that is known, or also known as the light bearers, which leads us to the next word after we read this. Past participle of illuminare, light up, make light, illuminate. So they are the Illuminati, they are the enlightened ones on the left-hand side. It says, see illumination. Originally a name applied to a 16th century Spanish sect, the Alumbrados, which the Alumbrados is the Spanish way of saying the Illuminati, because it started with the Spaniards, you know, that had this term with the Jesuit, the one that began the Jesuit order, Inigo Lopez. I'm trying to think of his other name that he's better known by. It's escaping me right now, but if it comes back, I'll bring it out. But that's where it started from. So that name, the Alumbrados, or Los Alumbrados, was translated or transferred over to Germany with the so-called Illuminati, or the Enlightened Ones. Then to other sects on the continent. Since 1977, used as a translation of German Illuminatum, name of a secret society founded 1776 in Ingolstadt, Bavaria, repressed there 1785, and it was repressed. But guess what? They came back under different names, because what you have to understand is these are like corporations. What happens with a corporation? A corporation is set up when a corporation files for bankruptcy, right? Does that corporation just cease to exist? No, it does not. The name of it ceases to exist, but it takes on a different name and it continues on the same thing that he was doing prior to that. It just dissolved the company name, at that time. And that's what happened with the Illuminati. That name kind of went underground, and they pretty much broke up into many different tentacles, just like an octopus. That's why you'll see some pictures of the so-called New World Order as an octopus with its tentacles all over the globe. And that's what they do. They have their hands in everything, everywhere on the planet. And this is why they want to microchip everybody, to have total control of everything, because they can never have enough. So it says, and holding deistic and republican principles, hence used generally of free thinkers and sarcastically of those professing intellectual enlightenment, related Illuminatism, Illuminatist. All right. So building off of that, dealing with the word Illuminati or enlightened ones, we get to the term Lucifer, which he actually broke down. And this is the ignorance of these wacky-tacky Christians that try to explain this passage here and others in the scriptures, saying that, Lucifer was a beautiful angel of light, and, he was a musician, and he was the brightest angel of them all. And one day he got jealous of God and he rebelled against God. And so God kicked him out and 1/3 of the angels from heaven. Those are fairy tales. Those are Jewish fables, and fairy tales that have been built upon by different mythologies, based off of scriptures in the Bible. But also prior to that, those different mythologies were incorporated into the scriptures. And this is why the Apostle Peter, when he was breaking down the coming of our Lord Yahushua and the importance of the sacrifice that he made to these different Israelites that were scattered abroad, he said this in 2 Peter 1:16. It says, for we have not followed cunningly devised fables. Because remember, those fables were very prominent in those days of the apostles. That's why the Apostle Paul would mention about the different gladiatorial games. He would mention about racing. He would mention about boxing. He would mention about the poets, because those are very prominent things back then. And you had also a lot of, mythologies that were being taught. That's why when he went to Athens, he said his spirit was stirred in him, because he saw all of their devotions. And they had something called Mars Hill, which was a place where they were all gathered together up on this hill to discuss different philosophies, different things, different knowledge and science and different things of that nature. So you had a lot of that going on back there. That's why the Apostle Peter said, for we have not followed cunningly devised fables. So if you believe that Lucifer is another name for Satan, then you believe in a fairy tale, in a cunningly devised fable. He said, when we made known unto you the power and coming of our Lord Yahushua, but were eyewitnesses of his majesty. So they were breaking things down to the people based off of what they saw and what they were taught by the Lord himself, not what the mythology was teaching. That's why they had to use terms like Tartaros and Hades and things of that nature, because those are big mythologies that were being taught back then, and eventually they were incorporated into the scriptures. Even the Compact Bible Dictionary, which Vocab Malone hates so much, I'm not sure. Let me see if I can find. It might be Gehenna. You could look up hell. You could look up Gehenna. You could look up Hades, but I believe it's Gehenna itself when you look that up. And if they understood what that really meant, then they wouldn't be saying that there's a such thing as hell. Now, Salaki, I'm going to come over to the light, so I'm going to be a little bit away from the microphone. Hopefully it'll pick me up. This is Gehenna, right? Let me see if this is the one. Right. Gehenna, Valley of Hinnom, a valley on the west and southwest of Jerusalem, which formed part of the border between Judah and Benjamin. And it gives you a bunch of scriptures. Sacrificed their sons to Molech. For this reason, Josiah defiled the place. After referring to the idolatrous barbarities, Jeremiah prophesies a great slaughter of the people there and in the siege of Jerusalem. And this is why Yahushua would use that, because that was an example as to the future judgment for those that disobeyed the Lord. They were going to be destroyed, just like those people were destroyed in the valley of Hinnom, which you get the term Gehenna, which is one of the Greek words that they use for hell in the New Testament, which is not hell itself, but it's this valley of slaughter where they were killing children, where they were burning trash, where in some accounts they were having criminals put to death there. So it was known as a scene of judgment. And that's why Yahweh shall use it for the scene of future judgments coming for the disobedience of those against the Lord. So it goes on to say, after the Old Testament period, Jewish apocalyptic writers began to call the Valley of Hinnom the entrance to hell. So see, it was a guise, it was a fable. It says later, hell itself. So after the Old Testament period, these apocalyptic rabbis called that the Gehenna, the entrance to hell, and then later on, hell itself. So hell was not a teaching of the Old Testament. Hell was not something that our forefathers were teaching amongst themselves as a place you go for future judgments. Because when the scriptures tell us that when a man or woman dies, or child, or whatever the case is, the body is interred into the ground, and the spirit goes back to the Heavenly Father, which gave it. And there the judgment begins. And the sentencing and that particular judgment that was given to that spirit that goes up in the heavens is played out on the earth. That's why King Solomon said, I saw the place of judgment under the sun, which is what? What is under the sun? The earth. So this is where judgment sentences are given. And this is why the apostles asked the Lord, he said, Lord, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? So if the man was born that way, how could he have sinned to have gotten in that predicament? It would have to be in another life, which they understood. That see, the disciples, the people of the Lord back then, people understood about reincarnation back then. Not like today. Because you have many different other nations that use reincarnation. But hey, all nations teach about the flood. Does that make the flood less effective or less believable, or that it didn't happen because other nations speak about it? No. So reincarnation is in the scriptures, and there's no such thing as a place called hell. All right, so now that we built on that, those are cunningly devised fables, going back to Isaiah 14 and 12. As we read through here, it says, How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? At first glance, without knowing any better, you will say, well, that sounds like somebody was kicked out of heaven. And most people will say, well, Lucifer, like if you look up the term Lucifer, I'm pretty sure if you look up the term Lucifer, they're going to say another name for Satan. But you know, now they got that fucking series. And that's another thing with this, with dealing with information. Let's see. All right, I mean, this is a little something here. In classical mythology, Lucifer, Lightbringer in Latin, was the name of the planet Venus, though it was often personified as a male figure bearing a torch. And this is why a key thing to bring out in Isaiah 14 here is that the name Lucifer has a first letter capitalized, as if to signify a personal name. And this is something we're going to deal with also. So it says the Greek name for the planet was Varisi Phosphorus, which we see that in the book of Peter's, dealing with Yahweh. I believe it was same 2 Peter's, the first chapter, the 19th verse, where it speaks about the dawn, the day spring on high, something like that. It goes into the Greek word phosphorus, because Yahweh also is a light bearer. It says also meaning light bringer, or Hiosphoros, which is the Greek equivalent to the Hebrew word Hayalal, which is the same thing, light bearer, meaning dawn bringer. All right. So why is he personified as a male figure bearing a torch? Because they so-called carrying the light, and the light that they're carrying is the light of wickedness. Now we know that the light of wickedness, is not wickedness. Let's go real quick to Ecclesiasticus 19 and 22. And it says, the knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom. See, neither at any time the counsel of sin is prudence. So the knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom. So although you have the left-hand side, which the Heavenly Father himself created, let's go real quick to, let me leave that just in case we need it. Let's go real quick to Isaiah 45 and 7. It says, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord Yahweh, do all these things. So the Most High himself created all of these things, and he separated them one from the other. Just as darkness is as far away from light, so is righteousness away from wickedness. And there's always been a constant duality or a constant battle between good and evil. That's why they make so many movies about it, so many songs about it, plays and different things of that nature, because it is a fact of life. All right, so going back to here, so let's look up this word Lucifer, and we're going to read this again and break it down. So the word Lucifer here, like I said, is personified with a capital L, is the word Hayalal. Now the word Hayalal is Lucifer, light bearer, shining one, morning star, Lucifer, of the king of Babylon and Satan. It has nothing to do with Satan. The only way it could apply to Satan with a small s would be as the adversary of the Most High, which Esau is an adversary of the Most High. And this is why in the spirit they chose the name Illuminati, light bearers, light bringers, because they hold the torch of knowledge on the left-hand side. And also because they, at one point, they were the holders of the secrets of the world. They have documents and records and pictures and paintings, that the average person can't get to. So they have the whole picture. And this is why, even though you have organizations out there that are set up that are still leading Jake astray, but those different organizations that are trying to uplift Jake, get him to stop fighting against each other, get him to stop killing their babies with abortions, getting to try to get off drugs and things of that nature, they always infiltrate it because they don't want the empowerment of Jake, especially the tribe of Judah. They want the total destruction and devastation of the Israelites. So any organization that is out there to try to encourage, growth and a better mind state for Jake, they want to destroy that organization, because they know that once Jake is in their right mind frame, things start moving for Jake. That's why you had the Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's why you had your Rosewoods, where you had Jakes that were well-to-do, very intelligent, they had their own communities. But as Elder Apostle Tara said, they didn't have an army. Why? Because that goes back to the curses. You see, so they don't want that with Jake. They want Jake to be at the bottom, downtrodden, helpless, on their knees all the time, shucking and jiving, prancing for Esau, entertaining Esau, because that's how they like to see Jake. And this is why this truth is so detrimental to them, because on the left-hand side, they have that light. They have those records. They know what's going on. It says Hillel describing the king of Babylon. And it describes the king of Babylon, but it's also describing their nation. Because remember, the Edomites are the daughter of Babylon, and they are the enlightened ones. They are the ones that hold the light of this world. That's why the Lord has. Why do you think they're able to blind the minds of them which believe not? As we read in the book of 2 Corinthians. Let's get that real quick. 2 Corinthians 4:3. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God, small g, O-D, of this world. See? Who is the God of this world? The ones that are in rulership. The ones that are in a heavenly state. The ones that have want for nothing. They don't have to worry about anything. They don't have to worry about where they're going to get their next meal. They don't have to worry about working because they have more than heart could wish. So it says, in whom the God of this world, Esau, hath blinded the minds of them which believe not. Why? Because they're able to manipulate the information that goes out there. That's why when you go to Google, and you type in something, like back in the days, you used to type in Google and you used to get information right away. The very first one that came up, boom, spot on. Now you look for stuff, you got to do reams and reams of research, because when you type in something, if you're looking for a particular piece of information, as soon as you type it in, what do? They redirect you somewhere else. And why do they do that? Because we're this is the information age, but in the information age, there's a lot of disinformation. So it's a thing of being able to discern information from disinformation. And that's the problem today. So those of us, that were blessed through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shah, to have this knowledge and have a footing, on what's going on in the world, are able to maneuver through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shah on what is right and what is wrong, because the Lord already gave a standard. He gave a foundation. And that's why it's important to build your foundation sure with Yahweh Shai as your pilot, pretty much. With the men that the Lord set up, to guide you also. So when you type that in, they'll redirect you. So if you're looking for whatever information you're looking for, it's going to be hard to find, because this whole engine is set up with different algorithms. And when you type in something, they're going to redirect you to where they want to redirect you, so that you won't get that information. So that's why as good as much as knowledge has increased, as much as we're in the information age and you're able to look up many things and find out many things online, there's also a lot of redirection, a lot of misinformation, disinformation. See? And they have the power to do that. Why? Because they have control of the world. So now what I want to do, since we read that, right? We mentioned phosphorus in this definition for Lucifer. When you had the Greek name for this planet was variously phosphorus, also light bringer, which when you go to 2 Peter 1:19, which your brother put up, the day dawning or something like that, which is speaking about Yahweh Shai, the Greek word there is phosphorus. Matter of fact, let's get it right here. We have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto you do well that you take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place. So this light that's shining in a dark place is the Lord, Yahweh Bashem El Shai, shining upon his elect in a dark place, because America is the shadow of death. America is also the land, of where pretty much you could call it Somniopolis, or Dark City, for those of you that have seen the movie Dark City. It says, until the day dawn, meaning the light starts to spring up, and the day star arise in your hearts. Now the word day star, when you go to the Greek, right, which is just referring to Yahweh Shai, you go to the Greek on the word day star. And the day star, what do you have there? Phosphorus. The word phosphorus, which means what? Light bringer. You have the word light bringing, giving light. The planet Venus, the morning star, day star, metaphorically Yahweh Shai. All right. So here is letting you know that when we go to the word Lucifer, Lucifer is not talking about the spiritual demon Satan. It's talking about people that are enlightened. Now, when you look up the word phos, which is light or fire, like in Spanish you say fósforo, phosphorus, fósforo, which is a match, and then you have the word pharaoh. The word pharaoh means to carry or to bear. So phosphorus, light bearer. Iosforos, same thing. Eos is also light, and then pharaoh is bearer or carrier or bringer. All right. So going back here to Isaiah 14, we look up the word Lucifer is Hayalal, which is the Hebrew equivalent of the word light bringer or light bearer. And then you have in the Greek here, when you look through, you have the word what? Iosforos. Iosforos, Phosphoros, Hayalal, Lucifer. It's all the same word. Light bringers. Has nothing to do with the spiritual demon Satan. Now, when you look up this word, like I said, Lucifer, here in the English is capitalized. But when you go to the Septuagint, I'm sorry, not the Septuagint, the Vulgate, which is the Latin text of the scriptures in the Old Testament, you have the Latin here, Quomodo sesidisti de Cielo Lucifer. Now, if you notice, the term Lucifer is a small L. It's not a personalized name, because it's not a personalized name. Lucifer just simply means light bearer. You know, but they made it a capital L so that they can push that narrative of, you know, the spiritual demon Satan being Lucifer, being cast out of hell with his demons. And that's not the case, because they're up there with the Lord right now on the left-hand side, doing the bidding of the Lord. And when you look up the word Lucifer, again, it's small letter, small L. Everything is lowercase. What does it say? Light bringing. Light bringing. That's all it means. All right. There was a precept that it came to mind. Let me see if it'll come back. Yeah, it was a precept that came to mind. Hopefully it'll come back. But let's move on. Now let's go from there to the book of Ezekiel 28:3. There was another point in here I wanted to bring out, but I didn't get a chance to proofread it. So I'm just going to hit the main point and then see if I could find it, you know, just by scrolling down. Ezekiel 28:3, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. So they have the light of the knowledge of this world. And that's why they're able to manipulate and lie to people. Yeah, that's a good one, brother put up. Proverbs 6:23, for the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life. That's right. That's why Yahweh said, I am the way and the light. It says, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. Why? Because they've accomplished a diligent search throughout the planet. Remember, they are the Illuminati, the enlightened ones. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches. See? So with this understanding, they've gotten these riches, but the riches that they've gotten by deceit and by fraud, and has gotten gold and silver into thy treasures by thy great wisdom. See? They're those enlightened ones, those Lucifers or Luciferians. And by thy traffic, which is what? Their ability to trade and make money off of selling goods. It says, hast thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. So Esau is the most proud, you know, and they're lifted up in pride with this light that was given to them. All right, let's scroll down. Now let me see if I can find that one particular verse. This is good. Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, thus saith the Lord power, thou sealest up the sum, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of the Most High, because that same spirit was in the garden of, you know, the so-called serpent, which was an actual man that was pretty much a demon. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, the topaz. I'm just trying to get to the workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou was created. That's why they say, you know, Lucifer was a musician or something like that. They say, it says, thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, because the anointed cherub is what? The anointed mighty one that covereth, because this earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So who has done that on the planet? The Edomites. And I have set thee so. Thou was upon the holy mountain of the Most High. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Of fire. Thou was perfect in the way in thy ways, from the day that thou was created till iniquity was found in thee. Yeah, till, you know, he caused Eve, you know, to do what she did. So it says, by the multitude of thy merchandise they have filled the midst of thee with violence. And thou hast sinned therefore I will cast thee as profane out of the mountain of the Most High, because eventually it's going to be made manifest who the Edomites are, who the Israelites are, and the Lord is going to make a distinction. And I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire, from amidst the Israelites. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. Here it goes. By reason of your brightness, you have corrupted your wisdom. Because the scriptures say that the Most High created man upright, but they sought out many inventions. So this brightness of yours is what caused you to err. To make you think that the Most High was on your side. The word for brightness is yapa'ai. Yapa'ai, splendor, brightness, shining. Reminds me of America. That golden city, that shining bright city. All right. So let's read that again. Thou hast defiled thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings, and that they may behold thee. Thou hast defiled thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thine iniquities, by the iniquity of thy traffic. Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of thee. So that's why the Lord is going to destroy this place by thermonuclear destruction. It shall devour thee, and I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold thee. That's why they're going to say, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, for in 1 hour such great city come to naught. It says, all they that know thee among the people shall be astonished at thee. Thou shalt be a terror, and never shalt thou be anymore. And this goes right hand in hand with Job, the 20th chapter, how these devils, once they, Obadiah, the 1st chapter, the 18th verse, how they're going to be done away with. Now, there's another part in here, building off of that verse 6, therefore thus saith the Lord power, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of the Most High. Behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, meaning the other nations, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their sword against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. See? So the Lord is going to use these nations to bring these devils down. They shall bring thee down to the pit, meaning to destruction, which is the same thing we're reading in the book of Isaiah 14. And thou shalt die the deaths of them that are slain in the midst of the seas. Wilt thou yet say before him that slayeth thee, I am God? But thou shalt be a man, see, and not the Most High, in the hand of him that slayeth thee. Thou shalt die the deaths of the uncircumcised by the hand of strangers, for I have spoken it, saith the Lord power. So that's showing you that it's not talking about the spiritual demon Satan. So how come when these people mention this about, Lucifer was a beautiful angel, he was created, he played beautiful music, how come they don't mention this part about you're going to be a man? And then going back to Isaiah 14, before we read any more, let's go to the 16th verse. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? So who did that? Process of elimination. The so-called white men, which are the Edomites. They're the ones that made the earth to tremble. They're the ones that are giving these nations a hard way to go. They're the ones that are stealing the resources of these nations. Because back in 1875, I believe it was, there was a depression, a Great Depression, just like in the 1930s. And people were doing bad. Then they found, I forget what the president, I'm not sure if it was Hoover, I forget the president that was president at that time. Pretty much, he had made a pact with Gad that he wouldn't take their lands that he had given to them. And then when this whole situation happened of this depression, they found out that in believe it was South Dakota, the Black Hills, they found that there was gold there. So what happened, that treaty was null and void, and they went over there and took that gold from Gad. And they took over their land. They come up with some cockamamie story and took over the land. And that's why I said, don't be surprised if over in the DR Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, where they found that gold if Esau don't go up in there and make some kind of cockamamie story to get those people out of there and for them to take over those resources, because that's what they do. All right? And they made the world to tremble. They did shake kingdoms. Whenever you came against Esau, what did he do? He'll drop bombs on your ass. So who does this fit? This is not talking about the spiritual demon Satan. And even when you read Revelation the 12th chapter, Revelation the 19th chapter, where it speaks about Yahushua and Michael the archangel fighting against Satan and his angels, they're mentioning a war, just like in Second Ezra the 13th chapter, and it tells you who this great dragon with the 7 heads and 10 horns is in the book of Revelation. It explains to you that it's a conglomeration of kings and kingdoms and governments. So how in the hell could he be talking about the spiritual demon Satan when the spiritual demon Satan, the scripture came back. The spiritual demon Satan is in perfect order with the Most High. Now let's go from there to the book of Job, chapter 1 and 6. Now there was a day when the sons of the Most High came to present themselves before the Lord. Now this is speaking about the angels. Sometimes the sons of the Most High are speaking about the Israelites. Sometimes it's speaking about the angels. It all depends on the context of the scripture. In this case, it's speaking about the angels. Excuse me. Now there was a day when the sons of the Most High came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. Why? Because Satan is the son of the Lord. The Lord created him. And he is in perfect order. You can go to, what is that, 1 Kings, the 22nd chapter, where it speaks about this great council that they had in heaven with the angels on the right hand and the angels on the left hand. And the one angel that gave a suggestion as to what he would do, he said he would put a lying spirit in the mouth of his prophets. And the Most High said, okay, I like that. You're going to go and do that. So if they weren't in order, why wouldn't the Most High correct us? Look, you can't do that. You can't put a lying spirit in their mouth. The angels are in perfect order. You have the right hand, the left hand. The Most High created both. Or he lost control of one side of it? Come on, man. It says, and the Lord said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth and from walking up and down in it, causing havoc. Because this world today is given into the hands of Satan. That's what them spirits, when they came to Yahushua, they said, look, what has that to do with us, O Son of the Most High, the anointed? Have you come to torment us before the time? Because it was time for these spirits to party on the earth and have their way with the earth. It was their turn. Just like right now it's their turn. But their time is almost up. But the Lord still controls both sides. He says, shall there be evil in the city and the Lord have not done it? So, just like the Most High has, he controls both sides. Just like you have the sons of the power, which are the Israelites, Yasha Allah, you also have the sons of the wicked. Let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 13, verse 38. It says, the field is the world, the good seed are the children of the kingdom, which are the Israelites, but the tares are the children of the wicked one, which are the Edomites. And just to say this, when the scriptures speak about the wheat and the tare, that's talking about the wheat is talking about the Israelites, the tares are talking about Edomites that look like Jake. It's not talking about the other nations, because the other nations are not children of the wicked one, even though you have wicked among them. Okay? So, but the tares are the children of the wicked one, which are Esau, and they intermingled them. And like I said on one lesson, the tares look just like the wheat. Okay? I'll just leave it at that. So just like you have the sons of the power, which are the Israelites, which are the Most High's sons, you also have the sons of the wicked, which is Esau and the other nations, which are the sons and daughters of Satan. But the Most High controls both sides. See? All right, let's see what else we got. Let's go real quick to the book of 2 Corinthians 11 . And 13. For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Yahushua, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Yeah, because you could have demons transform themselves into angels of light, light bearers. And what do? They're not gonna appear before people as demons. They're gonna manifest inside of other people. That's why you see spirits jumping on people and causing certain shit to happen. And then afterwards, once the demon leaves, the person is like, they don't understand why they did what they just did. It says, therefore, there's no great thing if his ministers, which are who? The ones that work on the earth, also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. So just like you have the illuminated ones on the left-hand side, you also have the illuminated ones on the right-hand side. Let's go to Ephesians 1:18. In the first illuminated one is who? Yahushua, which we just read that. Let's go back to 2 Peter chapter 1 and verse 19. It says, we have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto you do well that you take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn, which is Yahushua, and the day star arise in your hearts, which is Yahushua. Let's get another one. Revelation. And that's why people get all upset when we say that Yahushua is also Lucifer. Oh, you calling the Lord Satan? No. You don't understand the meaning of words. This is the problem, people. Revelation 22:16. I, Yahushua, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and offspring of David, and the bright and morning star. What does the name Lucifer mean? What does the name Hayalal mean? What does the name Yosphoros or Phosphoros mean? It means light bearer, dawn bearer, light carrier, light bringer. Yahushua was also known as what? And the bright and morning star. Come on. All right. Let's go to Ephesians 1:18 and prove the other part about the righteous Illuminati, so to speak. Ephesians 1:18. The eyes of your understanding being what? Enlightened, that you may know what is the hope of his calling, and what the riches of the glory of his inheritance in the saints. So you have Israelites that are also enlightened. The right hand side, you have what? Fortizo, to give light, to shine, to enlighten, light up, illumine. Let's go from there to Hebrews 10. I'm not sure exactly what the verse is, so just bear with me. Maybe 32. Yep, beautiful. Hebrews 10:32. But call to remembrance the former days, in which after you were what? Illuminated. You endured a great fight of affliction. So you have Israelites that are also known as the enlightened ones. You have the word again, fortizo. All right. Now let's go from there to the Apocryphy, as King Mashal would call it. Let's go to the book of Baruch, chapter 4, and we're almost done. Baruch chapter 4 and 2. Turn thee, O Jacob, O Yaquab, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be what? Illuminated. So you have a duality. That's why the name of the lesson is the enlightened ones duality. Because duality, the word dual, means consisting of two parts, elements or aspects. So just like you have the Illuminati on the left hand side, you also have the righteous Illuminati on the right hand side, which are the Israelites, which are the elect. All right. And I believe that was pretty much all the scriptures I had. So this individual that made that statement that he doesn't like to call the so-called Illuminati because Illuminati means enlightened ones and they're not enlightened, he's wrong. They are enlightened, but they're enlightened on the left-hand side. And they know all things. The scriptures say that they're wiser than Daniel, and there's no secret that they can hide from them. Knowledge shall increase. They accomplish a diligent search. So that was given to them. That light was given to them on the left-hand side. And that same light or that wisdom is going to be the light that's going to destroy them. All right. So with that, I pray that you brothers have been edified. And like I said, as a disclaimer again, those of you brothers, I put this video in the description box. Those of you brothers that are new, do not go and watch this video because it has bones in it. Just stick to the scriptures in the lesson and build upon your foundation. And eventually you'll be able to see stuff like this, because this is just used as a platform for a lesson. If you were to watch this, you probably get lost anyway. So don't even bother that. Just worry about the scriptures in the lesson to help build up, your knowledge of the scriptures. All right. So with that, I pray that your brothers have been edified. Until the next time I say shalom.